Maternal Instinct. Last chapter. It's never over. Deep within Militant space there, Dr. Michael McCoy sat hunched over his terminal in his darkened space of his lab. This late at night, it was only him and a few guards in the premises, which was fine by him, since he didn't want to be disturbed, even more than usual. He glanced up from the monitor to the prone figure laying on the table next to it, thinking probably for the 100th time that hour that wasn't about to get up and try and kill him. For there, laying on the table, was the broken, deactivated body of the Queen BB. It had taken a lot of talking to finally convince Global Justice to let him examine the body, importantly the programming running it. They agreed to deal with it only after they took her armor and deactivated the sonic weapon in her left hand, in hopes that if she was reactivated, she wouldn't be too great a threat. So here he sat, alone in his lab with only the faint glow of a computer screen and a few overhead lights illuminating his workspace. A myriad of wires ran from the whole Shigo, blasted in the Queen's head to his computer. He was staring so intently at the many codes of data that he failed to notice the other person who entered the lab, even when they were right behind him. "Working late? Gah!" he shouted in surprise, then swung around to see who it was. He let out a sigh of relief when he saw it was only Vivian. Don't do that!
Sorry.
The blonde scientist giggled.
Didn't mean to.
Well, knock first!
I did. 5 times.
Oh, Dr. McCoy replied, feeling a bit stupid now. Yes, I didn't hear you.
Apparently not.
Vivian replied, as he leaned forward to look at the screen.
What's that?
His body tensed a little, as he tried not to notice the low-cut blouse she was wearing, revealed even more once he bent over like that. It took a second to compose himself before continuing. His information I'm browsing through from that, he explained, nodding his head towards the broken robot. Vivian looked over at a table. It was a bit surprised at what she saw at first. But once information sank in, a playful smirk crossed her face.
So, finally found a woman who could stand to be around you, huh?
She quipped. Oh, ha ha, he replied, turning in the chair a bit. This coming from a woman who's been dating a robot for how long now?
It hasn't been that long,
she sobbed back, crossing her arms over her chest in indignation. McCoy just stared at her. She tried like she didn't act like she noticed, but after a minute, the careful gaze, he finally gave in with an irritated sigh.
Fine, it has been that long. Happy?
Very. He replied with a satisfied grin as he turned back to the screen. And for your information, Global Justice took her, well, I guess you could call them clothes, to make sure they weren't hiding any nasty surprises.
Wait, you talked Global Justice into letting you examine this thing?
Well, part of her programming was based on my tech, so that tells me something.
And we're the opportunist, huh?
It's not that! He shouted back, surprising himself. A moment of uncomfortable silence followed the outburst, as he stared down at the floor. When he found the courage to speak again, he sighed and looked up to her. It's not that, he repeated softly, a hint of remorse. Part of my technology was used to create this thing, and the results were bad. It could have been a whole lot worse if Team Possible and her team hadn't stopped it. So if there's a chance of coming through her programming can uncover some way to stop all this from happening again, it's a chance I'm willing to take. It's not for me. It's for everyone else on the planet.
Wow, that's surprisingly noble of you.
I have my moments, he said with a sad smile.
Well, I'll let you get back to it then. If you need any help, just let me know.
I don't think I will, but thanks. She nodded. Star walked towards the door as he went back to his work. When he reached the doorway, she heard him make a negative sound. She turned back to see him staring at the screen, eyes wide in terror. Oh no, 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 he muttered. This isn't good.
What is it?
I was looking through some of the data right before a Shiga woman blasted the Queen here. Seems the data burst was sent right before her systems went offline, he explained, his voice and hands a bit shaking.
And?
So whatever system was used to send the burst was connected to my X-23 personality chip.
So?
So that means what got sent was her. Everything that made her what she was. Personality, memory files, everything. Vivian's eyes widened as the realization dawned to her.
Then that means
she could still be out there. Somewhere.
Wait, I thought you said the BB robots only had a chip for a day or so. How could you find the time not to build another body for the Queen, but duplicate your personality chip in that sort of a time?
The question seemed to snap out of his gaze, and let out an exhausted sigh. He turned to her, almost as if she was the most obvious question in the world. Yes, they did, he replied in a condescending manner, but you're not thinking fourth-dimensionally. They could move at an accelerated rate, faster than any of us could see. For them, minutes could be like hours. Hours, days. Days, weeks. Weeks, years. Do you understand, Neil?
Yeah, I think I got it. But that's all theory. There's no real evidence they did that. Are you even sure you're reading it right?
Well, a lot of data's corrupted, so I suppose it's possible.
I'm guessing you haven't been sleeping well lately.
Well, no.
It's probably a combination of bad data and sleep deprivation. See, reason. Dusty placed a hand on his shoulder, gave him a reassuring smile. Let your imagination run away with you, Frank. Go home and get some sleep. The robot will still be here in the morning, and you'll be able to reason things out a lot better by then.
Guess you're right. You said, feeling a little more unsure. There are times when I'm wrong, rare as they may be. This is probably one of those times.
See? Feel better?
A little.
Good. Then go home, she advised.
He sighed and looked at the screen again. Probably right, he said to himself. Maybe I'm just overreacting. At least I hope it is.
Warning! Warning! Critical damage occurred. Memory transfer now initiating.
These words flashed through her processor before the world went blank. A moment later, her optics tilted back online as she was staring into a pitch-black chamber. If she had lungs, she no doubt would have taken in a deep breath from the shock of coming back to life. Unless the sudden reactivation was still a bit jarring, and she felt confused as she tried to sort through her memory files. She remembered having the red-headed nuisance named Kim Possible by the throat. It was in the process of melting her brain with a silent disruptor when she suddenly felt, not pain, but something close. There was a considerable amount of damage done as she could have felt that. Most of her body stopped responding, and last bit of strength she turned to see Shigo. Yes, it was Shigo holding her child, the child that should have belonged to her hive. Somehow, she had broken free. Kim had helped her. While she was focusing on the younger girl, the pale-skinned maid had stuck up behind her, critically wounded her. Yes, that was what had happened. But where was she now? Did her own fail-safes kick in? Was she in her spare body?
Restoration complete. Chamber doors opening. I suppose that answers that question, she mused as the door began to rise. Her eyes adjusted to the lights of the room awaiting her. Fortunately, they weren't very bright, so the transition was smoother than she expected. While her eyes hadn't dilated like those of the humans, the sun switched from pitch black to extremely bright could still wreak havoc on her systems. As she stepped out of the chamber, she marveled at all the news similar this new body felt to her old one. Naturally, she expected it the same mold as her old one, but she thought there would be some more discomfort or uneasiness. Those feelings were most likely due to the rather human emotions given to her from the personality chip. I may have to do something about that, she thought as she walked up to the large window in the room. Wherever the rejuvenation chamber was hidden, it was placed in a very tall building. She could almost see the entire city from the window. It wasn't Milton. That much was obvious. There were far too many skyscrapers for that. Oh my god, it's a Danville, isn't it? Oh, well, you know, I had to lend it out to some evil killer robots, so certainly I had to make some extra money here and there to build my brand new devices. I mean, what else could I do? She knew a quick look through her memory banks could identify it, but at the moment she didn't really care. In the grand scheme of things, it mattered little, as most of the humans could be torn down and rebuilt into their proper places for her and her substance to live. I mean, it's not like that's the only evil person I have living here. I have Dr. Shayna living on the second floor. Oh, and I also have some spare room built for Daleks. Now, I know it may sound insane to put in such lethally killer people in my building, but you got to admit, they're honest and they pay their rent on time. I can't believe different Spurs are selling out like this. See, speaking of which, she whispered. She turned to felt the presence of two BBs behind. BB number 24, the first one said, and BB number 27, the second spoke. Reporting for duty, they said in unison. Report, the Queen stated. Second group of BB units were unaffected by your untimely shutdown, 24 started. They are continuing to work on the Beta Hive and should be done within the next month, 27 completed. Then everything is running on schedule, the Queen surmised. Yes, Your Majesty, they both replied. Excellent, she mused as she turned back to the window and held her hands behind her back. Ooh, cool pose. What are your orders for the moment? 27 asked. Simply to wait. I was a bit impatient before and struck before we were ready. I will not make that mistake a second time. Once the new hive is complete, then we will take our time to observe the world and wait for the perfect time to strike. Yes, Majesty, there is one other thing I have learned from this experience. What is that, Your Majesty? I gave in to the all-too-human flaw of arrogance. I allowed Kim Possible time to plan and execute her escape. I underestimated her. I will not do that again. Next time we meet, I shall kill her. The queen clenched her right fist into a ball, and a dangerous glint shone in her eyes. Ba-ba-boom! Remember, folks, when it comes to superhero adventures, they never truly end. But fixed new and fixed ending lead to reviews. And boy, do I have a ditty. I mean, I remember how I mentioned everything I could at the beginning of this with first chapter about why I like this, but since this is on my other channel, I guess it bears repeating here. Normally, when it comes to fanfiction ships, if there is a canon ship, I'm all for it. Which usually means it's Usagi and Mamo-chan all the way, Kenshin and Karu, Iwasa and Kagome, Guts and Casca, Kenshiro and Yurina, that kind of thing. I stick with the canon ships for life. Yo. So, finding me so into Kigo like this is quite unusual. I don't know if this is because we all happen to have our ships that tend to go beyond the grain, or even we happen to have those little things that tend to be outliers of our own thing. For me, like I said, it's Kigo, and I can probably list a few other ships that seem unusual and weird. One of the things I enjoy about doing ships in the pony community is that beyond Big Mac and Maud and Mr. and Mrs. Cake and Shining and Cadence, there are no true ships, so I'm perfectly good on that. What about Timber and Flash? Those don't count, because technically there's nothing official about them. There's ship teasing. So, No. It counts the moment we see Timber Spruce locking lips with Twilight Sparkle. Then it counts as an official ship. But I digress. I never thought I would actually go for this, but somehow this fic made it worth it. I find myself enjoying it. Maybe it's a rivalry. Maybe it's a certain episode of the show where it made it plausible, or maybe it's just the way that these people write it. I don't know, but I can admit that I am fully on the Kigo ship. Woohoo! But I also really love this fanfic and the way it was written. There are some other stories that tend to go for Kigo and either Kim carrying the kids or Shiko carrying the kids, including one that has Kim bringing out twin girls. But sometimes with both of those, my main problem with the other two that I read is that it does feel like they went too fast with the Kim and Shigo mashing lips and getting onto the bed, and then Shigo proceeding to show Kim the ways of the world, so to speak. This fic actually took its time. It took Kim about 6 months before she even realized she was in love with Shigo. And before that, it was slow and steady. You saw them argue, which was great. Then their arguing became less and less, and it slowly built up over time. And I like it that way. I prefer a good slow build romance story as opposed to one where they're instantaneously going at it. And it works really well to its advantage. I also love the breakup between Ron and Kim. While I know this could break some of the hearts, it didn't really feel like it was immediately Ron to Deafy. I cannot believe I just said that.
But yeah, I didn't really feel like it was a Death Eater position. Just that Ron and Kim didn't fall for each other. They broke up. They argued, and now they're together. There's still some fights here and there, as obvious, but they're still friends. Ron also doesn't let his emotional, depressing side get the better of him, and we see him as the happy-go-lucky Ron Stoppable that we love. And I love that this fic goes out of its way to show that, in spite of the fact that Ron has some problems, it's not so much that it's Kim and Shigo as girls, it's Kim and Shigo as villain versus human. It's kind of like saying, oh, I have a problem with Zuko and Aang. Oh, you just don't like it because they're both boys. No, I don't like it because they were mortal enemies, man! Or even say Bill and Dipper. You just don't like it because it's two boys. No, I don't like it because one of them is an interdimensional being and the other one is a poor innocent boy who suffers from probably as many neuroses as Twilight freaking Sparkle. I also like how the plot mixed both slice of life, an ongoing narrative, plus some pretty well done villains. I like the appearances from canon villains, and even an OC villain or two. I also love the appearances of Shigo's OC family, which helped it perfectly establish why Shigo is what she is. And to quote Tucker from one of my favorite shows, funny, she don't smell rich. But I like the comparison, and I like how it showed just what Shigo had been through and her expectations, which also helped to show a great comparison between Shigo's relationship with her parents versus the relationships with the possible family. I also love that part that shows just how cruel some of these villains would be and how odd they would see a woman having the child of a woman and how much they would go for it. I like some of their comparisons, like, say, Diablo wanting it because, well, he thinks it would be a good sacrifice for the all-powerful demon. Or the BBs just because they wanted it for a scientific experiment. Also, the villains were well done, too. I liked all sets of them. From the Green Goblin on down to the monstrous BBs. Which, yeah, in case you haven't guessed from the voices, I had a strong Cyberman vibe to it. And I felt like I had to actually make them into the Cybermen. Speaking of which, hey, Mr. Cyberman. Yes? I looked up your dating profile. Somebody's dating a BB. Oh, stop. It's supposed to be a secret, but yes, I have a night on the town with her. I got to get going. Young love between two robotic monstrosities of science that want to kill all humanity. It brings a tear to my eye. Ding! I also enjoyed how this plot worked really, really well with some of the other OCs. I think Jen, Credible, and her guy were awesome. And they were just different enough for Kim's to not be clones, but were also well thought out enough to make me want to see more of their adventures. Also, I love the fact that not once did Kim feel like she was being overshadowed by them or weakened throughout the whole entire story. She was kicking ass like nobody's business. And if you've been following along, you know how much I hate it when that happens. So yeah, a great Kim Possible story. But you know, all this doing about Kim and having a baby is making me think. Oh, what is it? Well, there is another, more adult story that deals with a badass superheroine that has an unusual pregnancy. Oh,
You told me we're bringing that one out next Friday.
Yep, I think I know what we're doing next. Tracy, I know what we're going to do today. Alright. Sorry, Ferb.
Don't mention it. I just wanted to hear you to apologize.
Oh, yes. Tune in next Friday. You'll find out what we're doing. But here's a hint for all of you who are curious.
XJ.